$2,400 for SSI, SSDI recipients, $50,000 grant, $10,000 grant, all being proposed by Joe Biden. But today, Joe Biden spoke about passing the HEROES Act, which doesn't have those provisions in there. What is Mitch thinking about this? And why did Joe Biden call for bipartisan relief for stimulus right now, which involves passing exactly what Nancy Pelosi wants her way of the highway? It's very confusing, but we're getting to the breaking news about your stimulus right now, your stimulus thereafter, and your stimulus perhaps never. And this is Being a Mitch. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is Being a Mitch, in which we go over congressional passage of stimulus relief, what Congress should do for your stimulus relief, what they're doing now, and what they'll never do. If I ever saw a day a little bit confusing, it was today, and I'm going to break it down to you for you and make it very simple. Moreover, I'm going to get you money in this video and throughout the day's videos. If you've not subscribed, please do. Go to the Finish channel, subscribe. I'm getting you money right now. I'm also separating money that is available to you right now versus right after and right thereafter, and money that perhaps will never come. I'm making it very simple for you so you understand what you can actually get, and I don't mean hot air. Also, like this video. In this video, I'm going to go over what Joe Biden said today, what Mitch McConnell wants to give you, what can likely and will probably land in your bank account from congressional action right after, but I'll also go over what you can receive right now. Let's get to the breaking news. The breaking news as you sit here today is that Joe Biden addressed members of press today to talk about his economic relief package. And yet, it was following a meeting with members of corporate America. It wasn't a meeting with you and me. A new report out of CNBC today says that lobbyists are being hired in record sums to push corporate agenda to Joe Biden so that they get stimulus relief before you. Oh yes, it's starting. The cows and the casinos, Sirloin's probably going to get a call very soon, to start pushing relief before your relief. This is not particularly good because ultimately the only lobbyist for the American people is Purple Power, the viewers of this channel. So what did Joe Biden say about your stimulus? Well, he said you need stimulus right now. That's great news. He said it needs to go out right now. Oh, that's also really good news. He mirrored what the president said on Saturday. We need to do a stimulus package right this minute. Also really good, great news. And finally, he said we need bipartisan relief. We need to stop arguing. The American electorate decided that we come to a bipartisan agreement and stop haggling over things. Well, that is very good words, and it mirrors what he said over the weekend, that we need to do things that are compromising and accommodating to both sides. And then he paused and he said, we need to pass the HEROES Act. Okay, so what's going on here, Joe? Suddenly, everything he just said was thrown out the window. Let me explain what's going on, because I got comments and questions from people asking what's going on. It's very confusing. What's confusing about this is that there's literally 3 Joe Biden plans at the moment that have come out of his mouth. There's the Joe Biden plan that I speak about on this channel, the $2,400 SSDI, SSI, Social Security benefits, the hazard pay, the EIDL, the $50,000 grant, all those wonderful things. Then there's the most recent HEROES Act, which has almost nothing in there for you. It literally is a big bailout for state and local and has nothing for the American citizens. It has a $500 stimulus check to survive the entire pandemic till it's over. It's a joke. Then there's the prior HEROES Act from May, which was more robust, that had a measly $1,200 stimulus check to get you from now to the end of the pandemic and gave it more money to state and local, but did have hazard pay in there. But of course, that's the hazard pay where the employer applies that you may not get. So now we suddenly have three versions of three different things being discussed by one person and saying, go pass it. Which thing are we passing? Which thing do you want, Joe? It's really not clear. Let me make it even clearer for you. These are the things that Mitch McConnell will approve right now. Mitch McConnell will approve unemployment extension of benefits right this minute. Your PUA and your UI are expiring in December. They cannot expire. Earth to Mars. Unemployment assistance cannot expire. America needs unemployment assistance. It can't expire. Your extended benefits, state extended benefits, and federal extended benefits are all expiring by late December or have already expired. Next, your PUA expire in December. You need that. Mitch will give it to you, $300 a week. What are we going to do? We're going to hold out for $600 a week because that's what Nancy Pelosi wants? No. Mitch was giving you $300 a week in May, and Nancy Pelosi said no to that. June, July, August, September, October, November, December. That's 7 months. It's been 7 months, 4 weeks in a month. How many weeks is that? 30-something weeks at $300? You would have had $9,000 approximately had we gotten Mitch McConnell's $300 a week. $9,000 is not bad. Everyone wants to tell us $300 a week is bad, but the bottom line is $9,000 is really good. Next, Mitch McConnell will extend your FPUC so that it doesn't expire. So that when we go into January, when we transfer from the fall weather into the thick of winter, no vaccine available, COVID rampaging America, then you would have all your unemployment benefits in place. It's all great news. UI, PUA, and FPUC at $300 a week. That's what needs to be passed, Joe. The problem solver's bipartisan bill. Next, how about stimulus checks? Well, Lindsey Graham and Mitch McConnell both agree to the problem solver's bill. It has two stimulus checks, one $1,200 now, one in March, $1,200. No one wants a stimulus check in March. They want them now. They don't want them in March. So there's two ways to solve this. The best way is the first one. The second way is the less best way to do it. The first way is you take out those two stimulus checks and you take the CARES Act 1 money that's currently sitting in SBA and repurpose it as a $5,000 stimulus check. Because it's $800 billion approximately, and it could qualify for about $5,000 a stimulus check. That's how much it costs for a $5,000 stimulus check. And you could take that use or lose money from CARES Act 1, that $150 billion that's unused. As it slowly comes in, you could repurpose that and also send that out as a stimulus check. Mitch would do this right now. Why? Because Mitch doesn't want to run up the national debt. This doesn't run up the national debt. The hit on it has already taken place. Let me give you an example. You buy a sweater, you get the sweater, you look at it, you're like, oh God, what is this sweater? It looks junk. I just can't believe I bought this sweater. What is this? And then you sit there and like, oh, my brother would love the sweater. I'm going to give it to my brother. Your brother gets a sweater. Did it cost you twice to buy the sweater? No, it cost you one time to buy the sweater. It only took one hit on your bank account. That's what Mitch likes. He doesn't want to keep on having big hits on the national debt. Well, there's $800 billion of unused money. In the universe in which we try to conserve lumber when we tear down a building and reuse lumber, we recycle plastic and recycle aluminum. Why not recycle money and give it to us? It's so obvious. That would bring the problem solver's bill to about 1 trillion or 1.1, which is exactly where Mitch McConnell would agree to. Hello, Earth to Mars. It's so simple. Now, the backup argument, which is not as good, but you could certainly do it, is okay, two stimulus checks in the problem solver's bill, $1,200 now and $1,200 March. Just give us both of them right now and just stop with the March stimulus check. I mean, we're out of the pandemic in April. The vaccine is in mass consumption by April. Just give us both of the stimulus checks right now, $2,400. I think that would be a very good solution. And as Joe Biden said, I will give you multiple stimulus checks as often as needed and so warranted. Well, okay, Lindsey and Mitch want to give you two stimulus checks. Just don't give them over 7 months, give them right now, and then you, Joe, you can give us more stimulus checks thereafter. Very obvious ways of doing things. What else does Mitch want to do? Mitch would do another round of PPP. Mitch would do another round of EIDL. Mitch would do another round of EIDL grants. He doesn't care about things like that. That's business or small business or Airbnb or Uber or Lyft. He just doesn't want to do things that doesn't go to you, which makes a little bit obvious sense. What will Mitch not do? And what will the viewers of this channel not be excited about either? Big bailouts for Andrew and Gavin. Gavin Newsom, head of the governor of California. Andrew Cuomo, governor of New York. In nearly every press release, all we hear about is New York. Is it getting a little tiring? It's getting tiring for me as well. Are all we're supposed to do is balance the budget for the state of New York during this pandemic? How about you balance your budget before the pandemic so we don't have to worry about you when there's a pandemic? Then, all we're hearing a lot lately about is that cities and counties can't go bankrupt. They have to balance their budget. Otherwise, they lay off hazard pay workers. Guess what? You solve that problem by putting hazard pay back into the HEROES Act. Nancy Pelosi took out hazard pay. If you're concerned about fire and rescue and all your essential workers for government at a local level, put it back into the hazard pay provision and require the employees to apply for hazard pay, not the employers, and everyone would get their money. It's as simple as that. Finally, Mitch McConnell says he has no problem paying fire essential workers, hazard pay-ish things, for state and local, so long as it goes to them. Ultimately, Nancy Pelosi has never agreed to that, and that's why there's no agreement, because she wants the money to go to state and local for whatever they want to use it for: mow the front lawn at the Capitol building, paint the Capitol building, balance fix their pension plan because it's been broken for 20 years, or pay their past debt because they kept on taking debt for 20 years, thinking that they could raise taxes and work. She wants to fix all those problems. That's not COVID, folks. That's not COVID. Nor is salary raises or federal raises for employees. So what would Mitch do? He would do the problem solvers bill. He would do a stimulus check. He would do enhanced unemployment benefits. And as Joe Biden sits here today and says, just do partisanship and go do exactly the Temple of Doom's bill, that's not partisanship. It should be bipartisanship. That's being partisan. That's doing exactly her way of the highway. Here's the twist. This week, Joe Biden and Mitch McConnell, the chief negotiators for the Republicans and the Democrats, have not spoken to each other. What? Yes, they've not spoken to each other. So how can they be chief negotiators if they don't even talk? How can they have press conferences and say, you got to go past this and we got to come to agreement if you don't even talk? Today, Joe Biden confirmed that he had talked to the heads of Microsoft, the heads of Lyft, and all these different corporations, Macy's or Gap or something like that. All these corporations he met with. Did he meet with McConnell? No. Why not? Why not, Joe? When the Obama-Biden administration came in several years ago during the transition of the bank bailouts, the first thing he did was reach out to Mitch McConnell to prepare for legislation that needed to be passed to save the banking industry and to save the U.S. economy. And as we sit here today, as of last Sunday, one day ago, on Meet the Press, Chuck Todd asked the question which you would ask: has Joe Biden reached out to Mitch McConnell to talk about stimulus? Answer: no. Hello? Why not? The President of the United States, Donald Trump, on Sunday says, pass stimulus right now. Pass it right now. What's incredible great news is that the President wants you to do stimulus. The President would sign the bill. The President is the person who signs the bill because he's still the President. And Mitch needs to do the bill, and so does the Temple of Doom. Let me explain what's going on. On January 5th, there's 2 Senate races in Georgia. Those 2 Senate races will determine whether or not the Senate stays Republican or goes Democrat. Here's the math. Both Senate seats have to go Democrat in those runoff races on January 5th, or the Senate stays Republican. A 1-seat win by the Republicans keeps the Senate. A 2-seat win keeps the Senate for the Republicans. If Joe Biden wants to win those 2 Georgia seats, he needs to pass stimulus, because ultimately people will look to Georgia and say, hey, you didn't pass stimulus. The same thing is the situation for Mitch McConnell. If Democrats go into the polling place, or independents or undecided voters go into the polling place, say, hey, that other side didn't give me stimulus since November, now it's January 5th, why should I vote for them? Ultimately, passing stimulus right now for Mitch and Joe and Donald and Nancy and Chuck and all those beautiful people would get a more comfortable position going into the January election. And, of course, would give you the relief you're entitled to. It's always about them and their politics, isn't it? Yes. With that, always stay with me in tune. Coming up next is Evening's Check, followed by Purple Power Live. Evening's Check is at approximately 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, followed by Purple Power Live at 6:15 Pacific Standard Time. In Purple Power Live, I go over how to get enhanced unemployment benefits, how to get grants right now, and how to get EIDL right now. 3 monies you can get right now, not right after, not thereafter. This is money right now. When we talk about Mitch McConnell and executive orders, when we talk about Mitch McConnell and executive orders from the president, this is money not right now, but right after. That can come later this week, can come next week. It's not money immediately, but it should be money right now because you've been waiting for it for months. If you have questions, comments in today's video, drop them in the comments below. I might feature them tomorrow's recording. Coming up next is Evenings LA. As always, stay informed, stay smiling, and save LA for more.